it's vital that there is collaboration between different teams that have expertise in different areas to be able to actually succeed in what our mission is.
How do all of those pieces fit together, and how can different parts of the organization, technology, process, policy, et cetera, work as a team to provide security solutions for customers? The teamwork between CSO and the business unit has been outstanding, and it's really provided us a unique way to serve our business customers. What business customers tell us is that what they want from AT&T is secure connectivity. And one of the things that CSO brings, I think, uniquely to the industry is that they understand security, but they also understand networks, they also understand connectivity. That security begins in the network.
With AT&T, in my experience, we are very good at bringing all of those different parties together to share all of that information and make sure everybody has all of the assets that they need to succeed.
Having that very tight communication between the threat teams, between the customer, between the end users, we find is critical to effectively identifying and responding to threats. I love working for AT&T because of what we are able to do for our customers in terms of securing their enterprises, securing their networks in a way that I think nobody else can.
Everyone, please welcome Cindy Cama, John Hogoboom, Manny Ortiz, and Stan Nurilov.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome. We have a really engaging panel for you this morning. We're going to discuss the power of teamwork in fighting cyber threats. In our complex and ever-evolving threat landscape, we face a myriad of challenges, both known and unknown. Threat actors are sophisticated. They have advanced tools. In many cases, they're well-funded. And man, are they persistent. They hit you from all angles. All of this challenges the security, stability, and well-being of our organizations and our society. In order to effectively combat these threats, we must recognize that no single individual or department can single-handedly keep up or even get ahead of these. So during this panel, my esteemed panelists have extensive background in incident response, threat analysis, malware analysis, and investigations. They're going to share with us their insights on how collaboration helps overcome adversity and provides for a robust and resilient defense. You know, I like to think about it like a big brain. And when you think about the lobes of the brain and how it allows you to walk and chew gum without thinking about it, so should the security teams. All the teams working together seamlessly can quickly react and respond, and in cases prevent a small set of events from becoming a large-scale incident. So let's begin. I have a great stack of questions here for the team.
Hey, excuse me. I'm really sorry to interrupt you guys, but we have a serious situation, and can't wait.
Tony, everybody, this is Tony Tortorici from our incident response team. He works with our Security Operations Center, or SOC. They're the front lines of security defense. What's going on?
Thank you. We've got a security incident, and right now, I mean, it's serious, and right now, this needs a team effort.
All right, well, I guess it's good timing because we were about to talk about how teamwork is imperative in solving an incident, so what better way than to walk through one? Guys, I think this is a working panel now.
Well, it's a good thing we brought our laptops.
Yeah. Good thing.
So Tony, I know this is fresh off the presses, but what are we looking at? Any details yet?
So I just got off the phone with the SOC, and right now we have about 50 individuals that are reporting a phishing event. Now, what they're telling me is this is not a generic phishing event, but it appears to be very targeted to AT&T. The emails coming in stating that they need a VPN upgrade. And the SOC has already started doing some analysis with it. They've gone in, they put in some fake credentials. They already reported that it looks like our corporate logon. Once they put in the fake credentials, it goes to a secondary page saying it's time for you to download your upgrade, and it's vpnclient.exe.
You know, Tony, that file sounds suspicious. It could be malware. I'm going to go ahead and put that in our malware analysis environment. See what it does. Maybe we can learn something about it?
Absolutely, we'll send it over.
You know, I was also thinking, if you still have the SOC on the line, one of the first things we should probably do is, you know, everybody might not have opened that email yet. So if we can have them pull the email out of their inboxes for the people who haven't opened it yet, that'd be a good idea. And we might want to force a password reset on everybody who received it, just to be safe.
Okay.
You know, and also while you're at it, have the SOC team check the proxy logs and make sure that we know who may have actually clicked on that phishing link in the email.
Yeah, along those lines, maybe have them block it in the proxy. Also, contact our abuse management team. They can get in touch with the ISP hosting the site and have a takedown.
I'll get back on the phone. We're on it.
You know, it's probably a good thing that our security operations team got our proxy data. So last week we actually had some new proxies. They actually got that into our platform, our threat analytics platform. Mm-hmm. And you know, so it's a good thing that they actually are working on that, and they even noticed last week that there was a problem with one of those proxies. It was actually configured incorrectly. They actually corrected it, and if they actually didn't find that, we probably would have missed some stuff from this event.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get the data after the fact, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm looking at the activity for some of these people who got the email, and I noticed a strange pattern. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here so you guys can check it out with me. It's kind of weird. All the 50 recipients, they're developers on Project Snowbird. I looked it up, and Project Snowbird, it's a proprietary next-gen 6G cellular technology that the team is working on. I think what we should do is email the head of the project, let them know about this event. Maybe they can be on the lookout for other suspicious activity and let us know if something's going on.
That's a good idea.
How in the heck?
I mean, the only thing I can think is maybe they got a copy of our corporate directory or something in order to be that targeted in this phishing attack.
While you guys were talking, I did hear from the SOC, they were able to pull all the emails out.
Perfect.
In addition to that, the password resets, like you said, and they were able to do some additional analysis in the proxy logs, and it looks like we did have 2 individuals that clicked, but the proxies blocked them. So, you know what? I actually think we're good to go.
All right, well, mission accomplished. Maybe we can get back to our panel now. Tony, you want to join us?
I would love to. Thank you. You know, as I was walking over here, I was thinking, you know, this panel's about teamwork, but it looked like the SOC did 90% of the work. So what's up with that?
Ha, very funny, Tony. But you know, not every...
Oh, Cindy, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just got pinged by the lead of the Project Snowbird team. It looks like they have detected some suspicious activity. The team is getting SMS phishes on their cell phones.
Oh, terrific. But you know what? On the bright side, it's a good thing that they actually reached out to let us know. You know, it's always helpful when other business units reach out and let us know when things are happening, because it may actually become critical to the case.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking, Stan, I could put my mobility analyst hat on for a second. We are a major mobile provider. And one of the things we could do is maybe take a look at that phone number and that SMISH in a little more detail. Do you have the phone number handy? I can look it up real quick here.
Let me bring it up.
You know, the one the threat actor used to send the SMISHs.
Yes. It looks like the phone number is 712-555-1337.
1337, interesting. Okay, so so when I looked that up, it looks like it's actually a Frugal voice number. That's a free voice over IP provider. It's a lot like a regular cell phone. It allows them to send SMS text messages and make phone calls, but it's just basically a software app that runs on their computer. And they like to use that because they can register anonymously. So one of the things I could probably do real quick here is take a quick look and pull a report on who received an SMS message from that number, you know, within the past few hours here, and see if it matches up with what we are expecting. And interesting, right, here we go. It looks like when I cross-reference them with the employee directory, that most of them work on Project Snowbird as well. So probably whoever sent this SMS phish probably also sent that email phish a little bit earlier. So it seems like a blended attack here. the thing that's interesting to me is a bunch of phone numbers that I wasn't able to reconcile against employees in our company directory. So if you guys, while you're working, I'm going to take a few minutes and see if I can figure out who these people are. Maybe there's more to the story that we don't know.
Okay. Well, while you're working on that, John, I have an update on the malware analysis. It looks like Frost Phantom rat. It's not something I've heard of before. I'm looking at the C2 also, and it's a strange port. 4100 TCP. That should be pretty easy to detect in the firewall logs. The IP address, it looks kind of familiar. It starts with 172.28. I feel like we've seen that a lot lately. The full IP address, 172.28.154.10, is new though. I wonder why it's so familiar. Ah, it's Bit Barrage.
Yeah, I think we've heard of them before, right?
Yeah.
Seen that?
I think we did a report on it last month. It looks like they're a hosting provider, but they only accept cryptocurrency for payment. No other way. That must be why the adversaries like to use them. It lets them stay anonymous.
Right.
You know, the other weird thing I noticed, I don't think I'm the only one who hasn't heard of this rat before. It looks like there's not a lot of AV and EDR detections. We should keep that in mind.
Yeah. You know, Stan, since AT&T is actually a major internet backbone provider and our millions of mobility customers and internet customers traverse it, maybe we should actually pull net flow data or flows for that Bit Barrage IP and see if anybody else is actually communicating to that IP address.
It's a good idea, Manny. I'll get right on that. I think it'll help us find some new victims.
You know, coming to think about that, let me get on the phone with the SOC again. We'll block that IP, and also we'll reach out to Bit Barrage and let them know that someone's doing some nefarious stuff on their infrastructure.
You know, I was thinking, Tony, we should probably block the entire site, or since we've seen the bad guys gravitate towards it recently, it'll probably help us stay ahead of any future attacks.
Good idea. I'll get on that.
Hey, you know, I think I've got something interesting here. You know, I took a handful of those phone numbers that we weren't able to match up to any employees, and I just manually looked up who that customer is by name, and I could see that it looks like all of them appear to work for a company called Telefluke. That's right. How'd you know that, Stan?
Well, I was doing the flow analysis, and I noticed there's an IP address from Telefluke reaching out to the Bit Barrage IP that we found in the malware analysis. And it's doing it over port 4100 TCP also. They must be infected with the same Trojan.
Good.
Oh no, Telefluke is our key partner vendor on Project Snowbird.
Oh, wow.
You know, I actually have the number for the SOC team over at Telefluke. So let me give them a call. Let me pass over the indicators that we have so far, and let's get them working on this.
You know, while you do that, Manny, I have some good news finally. I finished the flow analysis. It looks like Telefluke is the only victim in the last 24 hours. I'm going to go ahead and add this Bit Barrage IP address to our botnet monitoring platform anyway, just in case anyone becomes infected in the future. I don't think the bad guys are going to stop using this. Once we put it on our botnet monitoring platform, alerts will trigger to the abuse team, and they'll notify customers in case they see malicious activity in the future.
That's a good idea. Hey, Manny, did you manage to get in touch with the Telefluke SOC?
Okay. Yep. We'll talk in the morning. Thanks. Yep. So I just got off the phone with the SOC team over there. So they're on it. They actually are seeing the same types of phishing and smishing that we're seeing over here. They also took a look at their firewall logs, and they actually found a machine that's on their network that's actually beaconing out to that Bit Barrage IP address. So they've got that. They've got an EDR agent on that machine, so they've actually got that machine locked down. So we're good there. I passed over the other indicators. They're going to block those indicators on their network, and then I've also set up a follow-up call with them tomorrow morning so we can go over their findings.
Oh, that's excellent, Manny. I'm glad we looked into flows. That was a really good idea.
Yep.
Good. Well, Tony, you were saying about the teamwork?
Well, you got me on this one. But why do I have a strange feeling we're not done yet?
Well, after an incident like this, it's good to reflect on what went right, what we can do better, kind of like a lessons learned, and then figure out what action items we might want to follow up on going forward.
Yeah, I think one of the first things we should do before, too much time passes and your memory starts to fade is kind of get all the details captured. So I'll start to put together a summary report. A lot of those details are probably in our security orchestration platform that the SOC uses. So I can extract a lot of those details, get a summary, a good timeline of the events, who worked the case, the indicators involved. And that way, come 6 months from now, if we need to refer back to this case, we'll have something to refresh our memory on what happened.
Great, thanks. And I'll use that to get a notice together to send to our leadership team so it keep them involved and aware.
Good idea.
I'm also going to take a quick note and reach out to our security awareness team and let them know about this actual incident. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to put together a security awareness campaign to let the collective employees know actually what to look out for.
Good idea.
And I'm going to reach out to our algorithm development team. The algorithm development team looks at the logs and comes up with algorithms to detect suspicious activity. I feel like there were a couple of things we learned that they can help us detect malware in the future at an earlier stage.
Yep, great.
Yeah, another thing I was just thinking about is we probably also want to get in touch with our third-party email hosting provider, because this phishing email kind of slipped past them. But it was, I can't fault them. It was a very targeted phishing email. So I think if we provide them a copy of that phishing email and maybe the malware as well, they could put in some better detections to block it if they try to, same type of tactic in the future.
Great, yeah, along those lines, also let's notify our endpoint detection and response team, be sure that they can detect this going forward. If the actors return, they may use that same family of malware.
Yep.
All right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to the threat intelligence team, and I'm going to put together a list of the indicators as well. I found it strange that that there was so much targeting of telecom-specific industry. That 6G project is pretty unique. I bet the adversary might target all the telcos as well. We're working and collaborating with them on the standards and technology. So by putting the brief together and sharing it with them, it might help them detect and be on the lookout for similar activity.
Yep, good idea.
Great. All right, well, I think we have finally wrapped this one up, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I have a feeling I'm not the only one who thinks there were more than one set of bad actors involved in this presentation. But in case anyone was fooled, this is a completely fictitious incident that we just ran through. But I'm pretty sure that you can all relate to the elements of it and probably have seen it before in your day-to-day work. So I think we're going to wrap up with maybe a final thought from the team. I'll begin with pre-work. These teams don't form by themselves, and you cannot form the relationships of the teamwork in the middle of an incident. Incidents happen a lot of times out of hours. You don't want to be calling somebody at 2 a.m. who's never heard of you. So you want to do that extra work ahead of time to be sure that you know the roles and responsibilities, you know the contacts of your different team members. Tony, how about a thought from you?
So one of my thoughts on this is basically what we just did here, which was a tabletop event. One thing that CSO does here at AT&T is we practice tabletop events. We've got a cadence with them. It brings in all of the different groups within CSO, but what we also do is pull in other parts of the business. And what that does is that helps actually run through an incident in a stress-free environment. You have the ability to build relationships with the various groups, and the most important thing is find lessons learned. You figure out what's going on, you figure out how you can increase the productivity of the processes, and all around having that relationship and that practice, that really makes it easier when you are in an incident. Things flow because you have the relationships, you have the processes, you've already learned some of those lessons ahead of time. Cindy?
Great point, Tony, thanks. Manny, what about you?
Yeah, so I think, building an effective team actually goes beyond the technical aspects, and what actually happens at work. Although I will say that, it is obviously vitally important for your team to, be engaged in work exercises like, capture the flag events, blue versus red events, so that your team is together and practicing things like they might experience like we went through today. And like Tony said before, tabletops are extremely important for your team to go through. But I think at the same time, you also need to build sort of those relationships with those people, your teammates that you're going to be fighting alongside of, and trust me, it is a fight when you get into these things. You want those people to be close, sort of outside of work. So I always recommend that you sort of take people outside of work, bring them together, even if you have remote folks, bring those folks together, video calls, and get them sort of collaborating sort of in a non-work environment. Go out, take your team, do an escape room, go out to a bar, have a meal, just go have a beer, really. I think that's vitally important.
That personal relationship is key too. Stan, what say you?
As I think about this exercise, I think about the importance of information sharing and threat intelligence. If you pay attention to the scenario, there was a lot of things discovered that couldn't have been discovered from log analysis alone. For example, reaching out to an organization that's being targeted, letting them know of the problem, invites feedback from them to communicate. This way they don't try to handle a complex event themselves and bring information back. The other thing I noticed that was important is remembering past incidents, not treating every incident as a standalone case. Remembering that we saw previous bit barrage IP addresses can help us realize that we should block maybe an entire CIDR instead of just responding to one indicator of compromise. So I think when I first started, I feel like threat intelligence wasn't like well defined in the cybersecurity space. But hopefully this scenario gives everyone an opportunity to see how it could be used as part of their cybersecurity strategy.
Excellent. Yes. John, you want to wrap us up?
Sure, I can try. For me, you need to think about your team extending way beyond just your security organization itself. And that includes, your internal business units. So maybe you have an application that is your e-commerce front end that all of your customers come through. And maybe that's probably where, we call it like your golden goose or, the gems that you're holding on to. So you want to make sure that you have good relationships with those people that support that application. Maybe even, get those logs in if they're that important. So you have, a relationship with them. Should an incident happen, you're ready to go. Additionally, one thing I think that's been really helpful for us lately is to really consider your external business partners. So maybe you do some business process outsourcing. Maybe it's like billing or customer care or things like that with a third-party organization. And we've actually seen over the past couple of years that those particular companies have been getting targeted by these threat actors because they're kind of softer targets. They might not have as robust security posture as your company does, but they do have access to a lot of your customer data, right? So they know as a bad actor, if I can get into this partner that maybe is less secure, I could still get the data that I'm looking for. So, as Manny kind of demonstrated in the scenario, he had the SOC number for Telefluke right, accessible. If you have to wait more than an hour to get in touch with somebody when an incident is going on, that could be really disastrous. So you want to make sure that you've got a lot of that stuff in the queue, ready to go, so that you can keep your network safe, your data safe, as well as your partners.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I thank my panelists, and thank you. Remember, I hope you learned something here, picked up a few pointers, because we're all in this together, and united, we defend.